We actually have very few people in the company, but we deal with 140 charities. So the big ones, Red Cross, World Vision, Compassion International, Samaritan's Purse, all of them, down to the little ones. And we're in 80 countries. We're in North Korea. We were in Gaza. We've been in Gaza for a long time. We're in Yemen. We're in Iran. We're everywhere that you wouldn't dare go because everybody needs water. And we're always the first thing in after a hurricane or earthquake or whatever. In fact, you can put enough filters to serve 200,000 people in one duffel bag.
Wow.
So people go in ahead of the hurricanes, hunker down, and then pop up. I don't know if you remember the picture of all the bottled water sitting on the tarmac in Puerto Rico. We got there so fast, they didn't need the bottled water. So, about a third or more of Puerto Ricans were drinking out of our filters by day 2 or 3.
Welcome back to Mic'd Up. I'm your host, Mike DiCioccio, and our guest today has built a company that's redefining what it means to do well by doing good. With an MBA and a background in Fortune 500 marketing, he launched Sawyer Products with one bold mission: to create life-saving solutions that protect people and transform lives. Under his leadership, Sawyer has become a global force in clean water innovation, partnering with over 140 nonprofits across 80 countries to bring safe, disease-free water to millions. His story is one of faith, purpose, and impact, captured beautifully in his new book, Sawyer Think: How a Small Company Disrupts Markets and Changes the World. Welcome to the show, the founder and president of Sawyer Products, Kurt Avery.
Well, thank you for having me. It's our honor. Thank you.
Thank you, Kurt. I'm excited because we just met a couple minutes ago off camera, and your story is incredible. And as we're talking, your book is more to help entrepreneurs. Your story is very philanthropic and has more of the mission-based side of why I do this podcast. And it really is connecting both worlds. And that's why you're literally the perfect guest. So no pressure. Our audience is excited to have you, but I know you're going to deliver. You've done this. This isn't your first rodeo. And I want everybody to know Kurt's information, everything, his website, the stuff he's doing with Sawyer, it's all in the show notes and it's clickable for you. So you can go in, dive in, hear more about him and his story. But Kurt, if you can actually take us back to kind of the genesis of it all, and share what sparked the idea to launch Sawyer in the first place, and like the personal connection that drove you to turn it into an actual global mission now.
Yeah, it's an interesting story. I had a very storied career, worked for some very impressive names. There was a time where 2 of my bosses were on the cover of Forbes as best businessman of the year type stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I did some good stuff, and then one day at one of the companies, I was sitting outside the office and listened to the president take 100% credit for everything I did. I grew sales and cut costs and all that stuff. And I said, I see how this game is played. He took credit, got a big bonus, not even one bone thrown my way. So that's when I decided, enough of this. I'm going to go out and conquer the world by myself. Of course,
put that on a timeline for us. When was
that? Would be 1984. Well, I got out of Northwestern in 1977, so I had 7 years of business experience.
Right. So you got a marketing degree from Northwestern, right?
Right.
Bachelor, right? Or master's degree? Master's.
Yeah,
and an MBA. Couldn't think of the acronym. There it is, MBA. And so that's impressive right there. And so you're doing great things for this company that you're working for, and you're seeing through, the BS, right? And you're starting to say, so did you just decide I'm going to go and do marketing somewhere else, or was it like right in that moment way back?
No, I had the entrepreneurial spirit. Didn't necessarily play as well with others as I could have, because I was usually a little sharper than them. And so I kind of said, okay, we'll do it. So a friend of mine had come across the extractor, which is a snake bite kit, bee sting kit, whatever. So I said, that's pretty cool. So we'll start the company with that. My original partner was Gail Sayers, the football player. And we started this thing and immediately crashed. I forgot to shift from big corporate marketing to guerrilla marketing, small company marketing. So wiped out all the money I raised right away. And I came home to my wife when I was still working. I said, I'm going to pitch this budding business career and sell snake bite kits. And she should have just shot me right there and got it over with. But it's still in Walmart 41 years later. So it was a needed product. And then we built it from there. We would spend time in the stores listening and, what else do you need? And we went into first aid kits, and then the sunscreens, then the insect repellents, and then water filtration. All along, though, I'd learned we would only sell the single best product for its application in existence. We would no Me Too products. We're not going to do chapstick or stuff like that. We're always going to have the most advanced sunscreen, the most advanced insect repellents, and now the most advanced water filtration. So I always like to say we lost money 23 out of the first 25 years till we became an overnight success. So
Can I pause you on that? Because there's a lot there for a lot of people tuning in that may be just starting their journey as an entrepreneur, thinking about it. Or, when you're reading a book, right? Great information in a book, but the book doesn't talk back to you. It doesn't give you the next, hey, I got a question about how you actually did that. So we got a moment right here with you, Kurt, where 23 or 25 years, wasn't successful, and then he broke through. But let's talk about the products you just mentioned, the first aid kits. I had a conversation with a previous guest earlier, and him and I we were talking about how when you start a business or a product, and we made it real simple. You start off selling a circle, right? And then the market tells you, no, it's more of like a square that we need. And then eventually from there, it's a triangle. And that's the thing that hits it, and that's a success, right? But you don't typically get to the triangle until you start launching as a circle, and then you make those iterations. So when you were launching, talk about like the first product, the iterations, and how did you finally get to the water filtration? When did that light bulb moment go off?
Well, what we did, we found that, we tried everywhere, oh gosh, this ought to be in drugstores, ought to be everywhere. But no, we found out it only went in the camping environment. So we're in every camping store in America because they had these garbage little suction cup things. And we really do take the venom out of a snake bite. And so we hooked up with the medical experts, the toxicologists, got some really good endorsements, got into the big medical magazines and stuff like that. But then that's just one product. So you got to keep building. And as it points out in the book, your best customers, the best way to grow a business is your existing customers, both from the retailer point of view and from the consumer point of view. So I would sit in the REI stores for 12 hours, hit all the stores and sit there. What else do you need? What can we do for you? And the buyer's the same thing. So that's what led us into the sunscreens and insect repellents. And then now we're getting bigger and bigger. And, what else? What's the biggest problem you have out there? And that's, of course, going to be water. So we are dominant now. But we started out with some filters and then got into somebody didn't want to sell us and this and that. And had some lawsuits involved. And what happened was we ended up, I don't know if you're using the Bible, but they meant it for evil. God used it for good. We ended up with the most technologically advanced water filtration. These are point of use things. It goes from the river to your mouth right away. So we're out there 25 years later, nobody's matched our technology. And
so tell me about that. When you were figuring out how to do this, obviously an entrepreneur has a great idea, solving a problem in the world, which water is a huge one, and the clean water and getting it to the millions and billions of people on this planet. But there has to be, a technicality, a design behind it, a patent. So how did that come about? Did you hire people, or did you already have that infrastructure in the company?
No, one thing I learned from Jack Welch at GE was don't do your R&D in-house, because you're going to be limited by their skill sets, and they're not in my backyard type people. So these ideas come from the outside. Now, we do have an engineer now who came from the outside and knows more about water than anybody else I've run into. But we came across it because we had a decent filter, and then they wouldn't sell us that. And we remembered the name. He remembered the name of another company that had an incredible filter, which is what we're still using today. So ours is, you can't get sick. Whatever water goes through this, you can't get sick. And we're the only ones that can make that claim. Viruses, but they're not in the water. So biologically, anything, Giardia, E. coli, typhoid, tuberculosis, cholera, we stopped cholera in hours, not days, hours. So you're just not going to get sick. Now, we're still the only company that can make that claim after 20 some years because of this. Now, it's kind of like kidney dialysis, if anybody knows what those little fibers are, the reverse hoses.
Unfortunately,
and two things. One, we're so small, nothing can get through it. But secondly, our fibers are so strong, and it's on the website if someone wants to see the technology, but you constantly clean them. They never wear out. So these things are good for, we got filters out there in their 16th year out in Honduras. So working every day.
So it started off as something that would be a great tool to have camping. You know, you might bring some bottled water, but then with this, like if things got bad, you could just go to the stream and you can clean your own water with this product, and then you're good to go. You can drink and you're good to go. But now it's something that's more like household, right? It's like, I don't want to say another company competitor, but there's people that have, you know, water filters right in the refrigerator now. So do you also...
we don't do that.
Okay, that's not what you're looking to do then. Okay.
No, we'll let the Americans take care of that because our water basically comes in safe anyways, and they're really worried about taking out taste. We're out in the middle of nowhere where the cows are pooping in the water you're drinking and making it biologically safe for you. So we own the Appalachian Trail. Nobody goes on the trail without Sawyer. I mean, it's just us. We do a Helene. We send 100,000 filters up into Carolinas. We got there before, you know, the hiking community chipped in and they were bringing our filters to places where you couldn't get cars or
That's
helicopters.
awesome. As they're doing their hike, their little personal journey, they're like, hey, we'll help supply water to the different people out here that
they
can't
knew
get their
about
hands
the
on it.
filter and they jumped in and said, we got to help our fellow citizens. Yeah. So we sent 100,000 of those up there.
So how many boots on the ground do you have? Is that a call to action that you're looking for more people to help out with, or?
No, we actually have very few people in the company, but we deal with 140 charities. So the big ones, Red Cross, World Vision, Compassion International, Samaritan's Purse, all of them, down to the little ones. So, and we're in 80 countries. We're in North Korea. We were in Gaza. We've been in Gaza for a long time. We're in Yemen. We're in Iran. We're everywhere that you wouldn't dare go because everybody needs water. So, and we're always the first thing in after a hurricane or earthquake or whatever. In fact, you can put 100 of these. You can put enough filters to serve 200,000 people in one duffel bag.
Wow.
So people go in ahead of the hurricanes,
smokes.
hunker down, and then pop up. I don't know if you remember the picture of all the bottled water sitting on the tarmac in Puerto Rico. We were there, we got there so fast, they didn't need the bottled water. So, you know, about a third or more of Puerto Ricans were drinking out of our filters by day 2 or 3.
Yeah. Say that again. A duffel bag can, with a couple filters in it, not a couple.
Well,
how many would you fit in a duffel bag?
Yeah.
So 100 filters can serve, what was it, 200,000?
Yeah, depending on, well, if you take the right filter, yeah. We have them where you can put them on faucets and
wow.
Or you can put them on buckets, or you can just screw it on top of a bottle and just drink.
That's absolutely incredible. That's awesome. So you've seen a lot of partnerships you mentioned, nonprofits, partnerships with them over, what was it, 180 we said? You've also, I said, boots on the ground. You've seen this firsthand. You've seen what this impact is really doing in this world. Can you share a story, something that maybe really impacted you from, you know, being in a country that they just didn't have it, and now they're actually drinking clean water through your filter?
Yeah, we have a lot of these. They're on the website if you want to go read some of them. But the one that really chokes everybody up, including us, we put tears in your eyes on some of these stories, but a missionary goes to Uganda and he's sitting there for a week. And at the end of the week, he goes, I notice you don't name your children until they're 3 years old. Why is that? So they told him, they said, because we lose a lot of children, but we know if they make it to 3, they're going to live. So we'll give them their name. So he goes back with 250 filters for the village. And then a year later goes back and now they name them at birth because they haven't lost any kids since the filter showed up.
Yeah.
So many infants. I mean, most of these places there in sub-Saharan lose a third of their kids.
Yeah.
To bad water, and it stops. It's over.
I mean, it's still happening today. I mean, you think back 50, 60 years ago, even in Europe, they had a lot of, like, you know, it wasn't as bad as it is in, you know, some other countries. But yeah, I know my family even had experienced it. Just the medical attention wasn't anything close to what it is today, obviously, not only just with technology, but just availability. And so you're going into places so remote that can now, the number one thing you need for a civilization to succeed, the first and most essential item is water.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people forget that.
Yeah, we started out there, but we're also now in the cities because whatever comes through your tap, you and I couldn't drink it, but now you can when you put one of our filters on your tap. I think our tally's crossed the 30 million mark now of number of people that we've helped, but it's more than just that. We get rid of sickness. I mean, kids can go to school, parents can work. Diarrhea is over with. 95% of sickness is gone within 2 weeks. They're closing medical clinics in the slums because there's not enough customers. We save them 15 to 20% of their annual income. We're not burning trees down. We're not burning fossil fuel. It's an incredibly green product. So all that data is on our website. It's been published in medical journals, good procedure stuff. So it's fun, actually.
It's awesome. I mean, you're checking, not that you're out there trying to check boxes, but you got an innovative product. That's what every entrepreneur loves to have. You're solving a problem. This isn't just a problem like, hey, go to market and there's something that we can do better. It's the next iPhone app. This is like, we're talking about, so many people. What's the number you said? 30 million?
We've done 30 million so far.
30 million lives. And it's probably more than that because how the heck do you track everybody? Like,
right.
Just the fact, I mean, you got people who aren't naming their children until they're 3 years old because it's like an attachment thing. It's like we want to make sure that this child's going to live before we become attached to them as a family member. I don't even know how to stomach that right now and say it, but what you guys have done, there's not really words for me to just say how grateful I am that someone like yourself and your company is out there doing this. And you've been doing this for a long time. Sawyer is the name. Now you can tell I don't get out and travel a lot. I didn't know that it was as, big as it is, but this is phenomenal. And so 30 million lives and counting, where do you go from here? You just continue to do great?
Oh, no.
Or what are you looking to do?
We're exploding because right now it's not just a filter, it's a whole system.
Right.
So we now have QR codes on the filter so you can hit it with your phone and get instructions on how to put it in, how to maintain it. We have WhatsApp. If you have questions, you can contact us. We can contact you. We have GIS tracking. Now, what happens is most charities are emotionally built, that it's a passion type thing. But the donors want metrics. So we now measure all this stuff. We literally have the phone and we have tablets and we go measure it. So we have all the data to show you the impact, not just that we gave them water, but that we saved them money, we saved them medicine, we go to school, we go to, parents can work, the brains, they got clean water, they can start businesses. I mean, we've got all that measured. So now if somebody wants to give us big bucks, we're going to do all of Guatemala, Honduras, and El Salvador. Everybody in the country will have clean water within a couple of years.
It's amazing.
And because we have the whole system, it's not just the filter. You have to change behavior. If you don't change behavior, it's just a filter.
It's a paradigm shift. It's a cultural shift that you're doing.
Exactly.
And you need the buy-in, obviously, of them. Something that's amazing. I reread it like 3 times to make sure my notes are accurate. But you guys, since 2008, have donated over 90% of your profits annually. So that's unheard of. Like I said, I had to make sure I was reading that right. It wasn't 19%. It was 90. How do you guys sustain business?
Well, it's actually a lot more than that because I can't explain to you how we do it. But here's how it starts. I always say, if we made cupcakes, we'd have to sell the cupcakes, make the profit, pay the taxes, and then be able to give away what's left. But we don't. We make the actual thing people want, which is the filter. I own 100% of the company. I'm sub-S. I don't have to make a profit. The bank loves me because they know all about it. They know we can make profits if we want to. So we give it away. We give away cash. We give away filters. It doesn't even get to the profit line. When it does get to the profit line, we give it to the Sawyer Foundation. And the Sawyer Foundation funds projects as well. So, there's no ULs in heaven. So what do I need the money for? I'm happy. I'm fine. It will sustain when we call it exiting the market physically or mentally. The company goes to the foundation and the foundation will keep running it like Hershey Foundation owns Hershey chocolate. So it's a privilege. And so the reason we wrote the book was to focus on entrepreneurs making their business more profitable, more successful. There's 25 lessons in there. Some are pretty basic. You'll see them somewhere else. 4 Ps, 5 Cs, creative destruction. Some of them are the own things that I've developed, my little math trap or decision matrix or whatever. So, why do you want a patent? Why don't you want a patent? How do you build your business with existing customers and that kind of stuff? So there's 25 lessons in there. Hopefully we help an entrepreneur become more successful, more profitable. Mm-hmm. And then we take them into the chapter with, now that you are more profitable, how can you jump into the charity game? You think of a restaurant, it's not leftover food. It's the fact that you buy at wholesale and people buy at retail. So you already have a huge competitive advantage to be able to provide food for people at a lower cost, stuff like that.
That makes sense. Yeah. So that's incredible. Anyone tuning in right now, check out the book. Let's put it up on the screen again and hold it there for a second. Again, this is something where, okay, you have a great idea. You have a great mission for your business. You're successful. But what are the things you can do similar to Sawyer, where they figure out ways that they can be profitable, but also have this huge giving heart as the mission behind the business? Restaurants, great example there. They buy in bulk, they get better prices. So if they could afford to do things like that, especially if the business is successful as well. I think, anyone like myself thinking right now is, how can I get involved and do more? I'm going to read the book and tune in. I actually had a mentor in the past. Shout out to Dr. Jamil, who's a great mentor of mine going back a few years ago. And every month he would send me a recap based on, one of the things he did with the money that he got paid from his coaching clients is he would plant trees and give water to different, like something similar to what you're doing. But it would be a whole rundown of like how many families, how many people, what was planted, what food was given based on that. So I'm not sure what organization he partnered with to do that, but obviously he gave a percentage of his income to do that. And it was really cool because it wasn't just like someone saying, oh, I give, 20% of my business goes to a charity. It's like, how many people were really impacted? And that's really cool. So I appreciate you highlighting that in the book. I want you to go back though, writing this book, having Sawyer be the company that it is, giving 90% away plus, you said even higher than that. God is at the center of all this. And I'm comfortable saying that on my show. I'm a believer. And I think if someone's tuning in right now and they're not, okay, listen right here. I want you to share how your faith has helped you make some of these decisions. And like, was there a moment when you were walking in your faith that you could say, hey, I know, like, I feel connected and on purpose with this right now?
Well, I was always one with God since I was knee-high to a grasshopper. I mean, okay. I remember 5 years old, I was crying Christmas Eve because why are we giving each other's presents? That's not what the purpose of this holiday is, stuff like that. There are stories in the book of where there's no doubt God was involved. I mean, I'm not that smart. And some things have happened. I think I got at least 3 stories in there that tell you God's had a hand on Sawyer. Mm-hmm. Incredible events. They're in the book. So he's been with us all the time. I'm not that smart. I make a lot of mistakes. He just covers up for me. So
sure. Can you share something though that had you connected? You said since a youngster, it's always been there in your heart. But is there something as you walk through your mission with Sawyer where you can see it happening? I mean, there's a lot of stories of these countries now getting clean water, but what about just something in your faith? Maybe your faith even being tested at times. Is something that you could share to really highlight that?
Yeah, no, there's a story in the book. You get a kick out of it. So Gulf War I shows up, and we had just come back from the show as I met somebody, and we're filling maybe 2,000 bottles of sunscreen a week. I'd just gotten in the sunscreen business. Mm-hmm. And then the bid comes out for Gulf War I. They want 200,000 a week. So of course I bid on it. Why wouldn't you? Yeah, we can do that. And I had a partner. We lined it all up, and we did do it. We ended up doing some 6 million bottles. So here we are. We finally get there. I mean, like in 15 minutes, the guy bought all the equipment, the chemicals, and everything else. And we started out, and 200,000 a week when we were hand filling. So we got all the equipment. We're making this stuff. And then we find out after we're already into this thing that there's a requirement that you have to be a commercially available brand. Now, I had just gotten into business and I shipped two cases of 12. I had 24 bottles in the marketplace. 12 are in California and 12 are in Broadway Hardware, McAllen, Texas. You know where the inspector was who had to approve it? McAllen, Texas. Drives down the road about a mile, goes into Broadway Hardware, sees it on the shelf. We qualify, we get the contract.
Wow. And this guy could have been anywhere in the country, and he happens to be miles away from where he needed him to be.
1 mile from where we had to approve us. And he saw the one of only 2 cases that were on the retail market.
That's incredible.
Now, you think that was an accident?
Nope, no. That is a God wink for sure.
There's a few. Sure. We have quite a few of those.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, I'm just going to share a little bit, get vulnerable with you for a moment. My faith has been tested, and I haven't always been super strong with it. Like you said, since you were young, you had that. I went to church. I grew up Catholic and was happy to go with my family. We have a great family, and so I enjoyed going. But at the same time, I always felt disconnected, like from how it was presented to me. I guess it got kind of boring. Right. By the time I was 18, it was like, okay, I'll go just to make mom and dad happy. But really, and it was until a little bit later when I got reconnected through other friends that were showing me, Jesus and leading the way by example. And then also my ex-wife and her family, I would go to church with them and got reconnected that way. And then after my divorce, and I struggled with different things after that, I got reconnected again. And it was like, since then I've been, following through different Christian churches that I feel, connected to. It always has to be, for me, it's a connection that really gets me there. But the one thing I've learned is that it's not the church. It's not the great pastor that can deliver an awesome message. You got to really have a relationship with Jesus and with God, and you do that personally. But and there's got to be like a community element. I'm just speaking from my experience. That community element's really important. Can you share how that's also shaped how you've walked through your faith, and how communities helped you out?
Yeah, well, let me, first of all, I'm a thinker. So I did study all the other religions. I mean, do we become believers, Christians, because of our parents, or does it have to be authentic? So, even though I wanted to make sure that it was authentic. So I've studied the other religions, and it all comes back to, no, it didn't make sense. It might help your readers. I'll give you a name. It's called The Science Dilemma.
Okay.
It's you can get it on YouTube. There's videos. We help support them. They went to the biggest experts in creation science and all that stuff, discovery science. And you can they do DNA, they do fossil records, they do intelligent design. They got all the biggest names out there. It isn't by accident. I mean, so you have to have, if you're going to have an authentic religion, it has to be whatever created this existence. And you're not going to find it outside of the Christian faith. You're not going to find Buddhists creating the world, or Hindus or whatever. So
I'll share this again, man. My personal experience. I haven't studied it as deep and as much as you have, like all of those individually, and trying to figure out like which you can almost kind of eliminate from being the one that you would follow. I've watched a lot of YouTube videos, and just different people who question it, and people who are atheists who later became Christian. Right. Just a couple of days ago, I was watching people who were literally going through medical procedures. They were, flatlining, and have experienced a walk with Jesus in that moment. And people who don't know each other, separate videos, separate times, recorded at different times, were experiencing the same thing or very similar stories. So my belief is as strong as it's ever been. And just recently going through some personal, hardships that I've gone through, you get to that point, you have to surrender. You have to surrender, because this isn't something that we do for ourselves. It's through him, for him. And when you reconnect with that, which is what I'm doing, and it takes a lot of micro steps to really fulfill that. And it never ends. We do that until the day we're called. But I'm just sharing that personally with you. I didn't plan on having that conversation, but it's heavy on my heart. And so I really appreciate you sharing your story there as well.
Yeah, it happens. The support system is very important there. One other thing. So you say where we're going from here is probably what you're thinking.
Yeah.
So
yeah. What are we looking
did
at
you
next?
hear the news last week about the study that was done in Uganda that a chemical applied to the baby wrap would eliminate 2/3 of all the malaria among children ages 0 to 2?
No, I didn't.
That's
I haven't
us.
heard that. Okay.
That's us. Okay,
That's awesome.
we've done that. It's a permethrin. You'll see it on our website. We sell it to the hunters and the hikers. You put it, keeps the mosquitoes and ticks away, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That was published in JAMA, which is the most prestigious medical magazine out there. So I met with the research and whatever last night. We're all in now. So now we're going to go. We've done water. The other half of the people that die is malaria. So now we have the compound that will save children from malaria.
Mm-hmm.
The mom puts them on a wrap on their back, like we do Snugglies. They do it on their back. And as we treat that, just treat that, piece of cloth, the kids don't get malaria.
So this can, I know this is a heavy word, eradicate malaria? Or is that too
No, malaria
big of
is
a word?
too popular, but it can get it to be non-lethal. So adults get malaria all the time over there, but you can treat it. The children don't have the immune system yet to fight it at all. So we'll start with the kids. So yes, we eliminate malaria. 2/3 of the kids will eliminate it just by wearing this wrap.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where it's lethal. Children, it's more lethal to children than adults.
Yeah,
but yes, you could treat your clothes and do all that. But we're just a little piece of the cog. But this was very prestigious. Now we do water, and now we're doing the mosquitoes. That's always been. Half the world dies of one of the two, and it's always been our mission. I sat down with God 15 years ago and said, God, why don't we just? Those are the two biggest things. Why don't we just do that? And of course, obviously, it's him, not me. But that's been our mission, to solve those two problems.
Yeah.
And we invented the original bed net treatment, which others do now. But we've always been in that. But now they just published last week, so we're now scrambling to figure out how we're going to do that.
That's what it's called, the bed net treatment.
Well, it's the baby wrap.
Okay.
That the moms wear. You'll see it in pictures all over the place.
Yeah.
So we just treat the wrap. And it'll last for a year when you retreat it, whatever. They keep them for 2 years. So we're just now, literally, you're talking Monday. That was Monday.
Yeah.
When we decided to go all in. And
Not
we
even
will
a week
go
ago.
all in very quickly.
Yeah.
We already agreed to donate the first 100,000 units. But we'll do millions. We'll do millions of these things. Why not? How do you not do it, right?
It's like when you have the cure and that anytime in sales, whenever I would work for a company, I had to ask myself, is this something that I would sell to my mom and dad, right? My grandparents, my friends, my family. And it's like, if you had the cure for cancer, right? Wouldn't you go and share it with the world? And so whenever there's a product or service, when I worked for other companies that I didn't feel like real good about, I had to leave that company, right? But when it was something that it's like, hey, I can do this with that same vigor and that same energy, because you know what I mean? And like, you guys are literally, doing a lot of cool stuff medically right now, where why wouldn't you? You just said that, and absolutely, like, go push forward as far and as wide as you can. So like I said, I'm going to have that all resources linked in the show notes. So anybody who wants that information to see what you're doing, even the medical journals, I'll link that new story that just came out on Monday. And any other resources that you send me that you want us to take a look at.
Not to do a shameless plug, but if anybody wants to join us, they can donate to the Sawyer Foundation, and we guarantee 100% of any outside donation goes to the projects.
Okay.
We cover the overhead.
How do you, okay. That's incredible. We'll get that in the show notes as well.
Yeah, it's a 501c3, so you get a tax deduction, and we'll guarantee every dollar that's donated goes overseas. Goes
directly to the mission.
Yeah. Now, back on the water side, what's phenomenal is with our newest product, we're down to 30 cents a person for 10 years of clean water. We give somebody 10 years of clean water for as little as 30 cents.
30 cents. Dude, that's incredible.
That's the system. So we're now doing it. We're finally doing, the governments are involved. We've done like 5 or 6 small countries, but now we're doing the bigger ones. So we're going to focus on Central America, because that affects the U.S. a lot more. And we go into the schools. The schools are going to give them to the kids. They're going to teach the kids how to use them. They're going to bring in the parents, and they'll teach the parents how to use them, and they get a free filter. Mm-hmm. And then we go to churches and civic things, and we build water stations there. So these filters now, if they had running water, can do 200 to 500 gallons per day for one $10 filter.
It's insane. That's awesome.
And they build water stations. Now everybody can come to the church every day and get water or fill a jerry can or whatever. And then we'll go to mass distribution with the AI system.
That's awesome. And I have a question. It wasn't something that I planned on talking about, and I actually thought about it like 3 separate times. Do I even bring this up? But maybe I get an interesting response here. If not, we can move right past it. But whenever there's a product, a service, something medically that it's kind of like going to the gym and eating healthy, right? You do that. You only need to see the doctor maybe once a year for a checkup. Hey, how you doing? Cough a couple times, you get out of there. You're in good shape. You're great. Right. But like the health world, right? The pharmaceutical companies, they want everybody sick because, and I'm not getting into conspiracies or anything, but in general, that's the idea, right? You could fix it with a drug. You mentioned you went into some of these countries and people were now getting access to clean water, and like almost everybody was having access to clean water. So you said kids are now going to school. Kids were, making it past their 3rd birthday. All this great stuff is going on. They're not needing to get that medical treatment anymore. Did you get pushback from the infrastructure of those hospitals and stuff? Like, you guys are taking our revenue away from us. I know that's a horrible thing, but that's a real thing.
There's no revenue over there. It's not like these people have revenue. So we're working. So
yeah. So you didn't have to watch your back when you're going in.
No, not where we are. I mean, you might have to in the U.S., but not where we are.
Well, that's good. Because, there's a great thing you're doing. And a lot of times whenever there's great things, right, the other side pushes back. The evil pushes back. So
we do get some pushback from the people who make bottled water. Because now
that makes sense. Yeah.
Into their business. Yeah.
Like you said, though, you're not really doing the family refrigerator system. That's not your market.
But they buy what's called improved water. So there are people selling them water. But we also go in, and part of our thing before we go into a project is we test for forever chemicals. Mm-hmm. Okay. Because there are in there arsenic and mercury and cesium and all kinds of stuff. So before we start a big project, we will find out how good the water sources are. And we'll either have them change or whatever. So the mantra, the rule is, if there is a forever chemical in there, we'll still treat you biologically because you're going to drink it anyways. Mm-hmm. And then we'll work on how do we get the chemicals out of there. But if you're drinking bottled water and you want to save money, we won't let you switch to contaminated, chemically contaminated water. Mm-hmm. But now got a project going where we're going to teach you how to take the chemicals out by making your own activated charcoal. So the world's been waiting to figure out, they got plenty of coconuts and wood. So we're going to teach them how to build their own activated charcoal to soak the water in to get the chemicals out so then they can drink it chemical free. Mm-hmm. So it's you got to solve the whole problem, not just part of it.
Right. And as time goes, like we talked about earlier, you get better at it. More technology comes in, the right minds behind it, figure it out. Have you gotten into anything with shower heads where there's a lot of people that are showering, but the water that's hitting their skin now and that their bodies are absorbing is not healthy?
They can. It's a question of how much water they want to process. Mm-hmm. We do have a system. We don't do it too often, but where we can do the water before it even comes into the house. But most of the work we've done before was in rural. We're just now getting into the urban market. Mm-hmm. So where they do have faucets, where most of the charities are working. Put
something right on top. Yeah, put something.
Yeah, so you can do that. We build water stations. We have a portfolio of what they've done. Do you want a tank? Do you want a tote? Do you want a kiosk? Do you want, So, we're going to individually have engineers create the different ways that you can retain and deliver water. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. And even if you drill a well, the second you get the water out of the well, it gets contaminated within a day or two. So, we can eliminate a lot of well drillings. But even if they do drill a well, mm-hmm. they can either go shallower now because we don't need real clean water. We just need water. But even still, you have to run it through a point of use filter even after it comes out of a well because it'll get contaminated up on the surface real quick.
Yeah. Dude, that's great knowledge. And like I said, guys, like go back right there and understand if you want to be part of this, you can, and you can give as much as, as you possibly can, right? Like not everybody may be in a position right now where they can give a lot, and that's okay. You don't have to, but any little bit you did, 30 cents, right? You said makes a huge difference. So, I mean, just think about it that way. If a few bucks you can give or whatever. Now, if you do have the means to do more, that's not why Kurt's on the show. He's not here to plug that. But while he is here, I want to plug it. I want to say, hey, the reason you're tuned in right now, maybe this message or someone shared this episode with you because you are a vehicle to be able to help out a bigger cause. And if you feel called to do it, you can do it. So I want to make sure you have that. Something else I want to do, it's time to pay the bills real quick. We have a couple sponsors. The number one sponsor on the show is our company, socialchameleon.us. So it is a podcast agency. You press record. We handle the rest. It's podcasting done for you. If you want more information on that, got that right there for you. Go to socialchameleon.us and let us take care of your podcast for you. Riverside.fm is how we're recording this with Kurt. He's down in sunny Florida. I'm up in frozen Philly right now. And we're doing this interview together because we can do it through Riverside.fm. And that gives us great quality audio and video. And we can get it out to all of the major players on Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio. The way we do that is through Libsyn.com, Libsyn.com. So all of that's for you in the show notes. If you're interested in launching your podcast, I'd love to talk to you personally, and you can schedule one-to-one with me. Got you for a couple more minutes here. While you're captive, is there anything that you were like felt called to come on the show today? Something you wanted to share to help our audience out? Maybe it's some words of wisdom with their business or anything come to mind right now or your heart that you want to share?
Well, obviously, it's good to know about Jesus. So, with all that, I mean, life is binary. Go up or you're down. Those are your two choices. So we prefer you to go up with us. Mm-hmm. There's no U-Hauls in heaven. So we're just going to do it all here. And the only thing we get to take to heaven is other believers we made along the way. A lot of these NGOs, not all NGOs, but a lot of the NGOs are Christian based. And what they use this, I mean, they take a glass of dirty water and they run through the filter and they got a clean water. And it's just a perfect example of what happens to your heart, when you become a believer from dirty to clean. So it's a great visual. Yeah, they love it as the tool. I mean, every life is precious. I don't know. There's a lot of baptisms that happen after this filter gets there, so that's a good thing too. In Kabir, it was interesting. The gangs have stopped warring. I mean, there are 8 gangs in this one thing of 400,000 people, 76 toilets for 400,000 people, 92,000 households. Every one of them have a filter now. 4 years ago, you wouldn't have walked down the street without a SEAL team. Now you can just walk down the street by yourself. It's calmed down that much.
And it's likely because people are fighting over scarcity, right. Depression, resourcefulness, sickness, right? Physical sickness could turn into mental sickness, can turn into fighting over a toilet. I mean, who knows what else is going on politically. But giving people the resource of water is just, it's starting from a healthy place, starting from scratch. It's like that essential element. And what's great about it is water, you're talking about purifying it, talking about purifying your heart. Again, there's that visual of a dark, heart and purifying it. Symbolically, what you're doing is pretty cool how it is. The two are connected. But man, what you're doing, like you got me inspired, not only to give, but to think about, like you said in your book, and I'm excited to read it, to get different ideas. You said there's like over 20 ways to things to learn in there about getting on purpose with business. Cause it's great to have a business. It's great to be able to, I love doing payroll because I love taking care of our team as much as I possibly can. Right. And taking care of my family and everything, myself, my daughter, and that all feels good. But at the end of the day, if that's all you do, it doesn't really feel all that good. It's like, okay, I'm kind of in survival mode. I'm paying the bills. I'm paying for, all this stuff. We got a roof over our head. everything like that could be good, but there is this lack of like, what am I really on purpose to do? And so hearing your story just has me revved up even more. My antennas up more, saying, what more can I do? And you don't have to have a full cup to do it. There's that whole story about like, oh, well, fill up your own cup first before you can start to pour into other people. It's like, no, it doesn't work that way. When you feel called to do something, you can take action.
Yeah, no, they always say you can't outgive God. So,
exactly.
No, if you really boil it down to this filter with its specifications, it's up there with the biggest medical things out there. It's up there with vaccines. It's up there with the antibiotics. I mean, nothing is going to change the world more than this filter. Now, it's way beyond us, okay? So others will join us or people will finance, but yeah, I can do tens of millions if somebody wanted to pay for them. But, we're pretty well stuck with what we can give because
Sure.
we have a nice business, but it's going to explode. Imagine, how many people die a year of bad water, and that's needless now? It's over. We're done.
Yeah.
Think about that. God said, I'm taking bad water out of play.
Mm-hmm.
Grasp that concept.
Yeah, it's incredible. And I hope someone's listening to this coming up with an idea to purify something else. It doesn't have to be water or food, but purify something else. There's a lot of stuff in this world that needs to be purified. Let's just say that. That's an overgeneral statement. But before you run, anything else you'd like to share with our audience, man? This is a great conversation. You got me thinking about a lot of really good things.
No, we just appreciate you had the time, gave us the time to tell our story. There's lots of this. The proof is on the website. There's stories on the website. Come join us. We're having a blast. How can it be more rewarding than to do what we're doing and to have the ability to do that? So,
are there any opportunities, volunteer, career opportunities? It's all on the website.
Yeah, but we have 140 charities. They're always happy to have people help.
Okay.
And we send a lot of students overseas too. Teaching the next generation of, NGO and charity people. So we do send a lot. We work with 3 different Christian colleges. We send a lot of people overseas to learn how to get in the game.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. I like to end every episode with this: be great and be grateful. And I don't know if there's ever been a time in as many episodes as I've done, over 260, where I'm always grateful for my guests, and I'm very grateful for what they've put into the world, the good and positive things they've done. I don't know if I can say how grateful I am for what you've done, man. This is not just a cool product or impacting a few lives or a couple countries. What you've done is, there's no words I have for it. I love you, brother. I really appreciate what you're doing. Continue to do it. Continue to think of different ways that you can help, because you obviously have the right recipes for it, the right team members for it, the right think and creativity for it. So we appreciate you here, man, doing what you do. Be great, be grateful. Something I like to add to that as well is a reminder for everybody to be kind, because that is free. That is a resource we all have. You're at the store, someone drops something in front of you, help them pick it up. Let the older woman go in front of you, whatever it might be. There's moments, grab the door for a stranger and just open it and let them go first. Little things in a day. Being nice to the person cashing you out, the cashier, like maybe they're having a bad day. Maybe they broke up with their boyfriend or something, and you're just nice to them and they just smile and feel good. That's all I'm asking right there. Be kind.
They're a precious child of God. So not to, but to quote, it's not me. So to quote the chorus, not I, but through Christ in me. So I got great people. Do not give me all this credit. I live in Florida. There's too much lightning around. I'm not going to take God's glory. So.
No, man, I know you're not here for that, but it is a reminder of what we can do through him. And what a great example. So you're leading the way. Thank you so much for being on the show. Like I said, be great. And I'm grateful for you. Thanks, Kurt.
Thank you.